Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3, and we are back once again with a pay-per-view roundtable, and this one is a good one for our first one for Impact Wrestling. This time it is for Slammiversary, what I called their most important pay-per-view of 2020. We saw surprises, we saw debuts, we saw returns, and then we had a Marvel type ending where the supervillain to end all supervillains in Impact history showed his face again. Yes, we are talking about Ethan Carter III. EC3 returns at the end of Slammiversary. But I am back once again with an all-star cast. We have the Potheel himself, the returning, the off from sabbatical. He is back on all of our pay-per-view roundtables, it seems. It is True Hill Ness.
What's going on, guys? Slammiversary was a fairly decent show, and we're just here to give you our opinions on it, see if they match, sync up, see where it goes from here.
And he is back again to talk about Impact Wrestling. And of course, he's got his lovely assistant, his lovely co-host, Mary Jane. It is Blunt Impact again with Mr. Chris G.
Oh, you guys can't get enough of me. I'm here 3 days a week at least.
The host of Joyce and Jabronis, the former host of Blunt Impact, the co-host of Wednesday Night Warriors. He does the behind the scenes, the post-production. This man is talented. We had to get him on our roundtable review. And finally, we have the man that now has the responsibility to give you all the coverage on Tuesday nights with Impact Wrestling. He is the host of Dark Power. He is the one, the only, the Stat King, John Martin.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be back, and we're going to be talking about pretty good pay-per-view in Slammiversary. Some great returns, couple nice little swerves here and there. Just a little something to keep everybody on their toes if they're watching Impact or if they're now joining us and watching Impact. So, guys, I just want to say, as you know, before we get started, remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment. We appreciate the support. It helps us be at the top of the page of YouTube and helps us always be in your news feeds, and share us with all your friends who love wrestling, who appreciate wrestling the way that we all do. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Make sure you guys do that.
This man is on top of it. He does it every week with you guys on Dark Power. He is on top of it. So let's get into it, guys. What was your thoughts? So we won't walk through the whole show from the beginning just yet. I want to know your guys' thoughts on that big, shocking ending with EC3. Of course, we got to start with you, John.
I thought it was really great. It's not every day that you kind of are leaving a pay-per-view thinking, okay, they accomplish what they aim to do, and then all of a sudden they throw another curveball at you that you're saying, wow, now they're just taking that to the next level. It kind of, in a sense, you almost were expecting it, because past episodes of Impact have ended with post-credit stingers, and having things like that to set up the fact that we were going to have these big reveals and big returns for Slammiversary. But the fact that they would actually do a stinger for the pay-per-view, I thought that was, in and of itself, just a novel idea.
Yes, it left it on like a very exciting note for the whole show. How about you, Ness?
Me personally, I'm not even a fan of EC3 like that. I actually thought he was going to be one of the surprise entrants in the main event. So I was waiting to complain about him being in the match, but not to get into that. I'll look out for where it goes from there. Again, like I said, I'm not really that much of a fan, but who knows? He might this return might make me into one wherever it goes. So we'll just see where it goes from there.
And you, Chris?
Yeah, I was actually pleasantly surprised while not being surprised, if that makes sense. Because I thought, like Ness, I thought EC3 would either be, in the heavyweight championship match at the end, or, just make an appearance sometime throughout the show. So once I seen it wasn't apparent that he wasn't going to show up in any of the matches, I was like, all right, maybe this guy's not fucking showing up. And then for him to show up at the end of the at like the whole end of the show, it's a big deal, and I really liked it.
Yes, it was very reminiscent to me to Thanos showing up at the end of of the Avengers. You finally see the face of Thanos at the end of Avengers Ultron. It reminded me of that because he's one of the greatest villains in Impact Wrestling history. So it was a very nice ending to end it off with him. After I was kind of disappointed yet happy with the main event, which we'll get into, but we got to start at the top. Stat King, Impact Wrestling is your domain, so I will let you take it away.
Alrighty, guys. So the pay-per-view itself started with the Rascals coming out to have their open challenge. This was the challenge that had been announced in between Impact's Tuesday airing and tonight's pay-per-view, and we kind of thought maybe that it would be the Good Brothers who would answer the call. Like, we knew that the Good Brothers had signed; it had already been announced. They weren't hiding the ball there. And so, in a way, the pay-per-view itself started with, yes, you know things are going to be changing, but whatever your expectations are, we just might subvert those expectations. Because instead of the Good Brothers, we got the returning Motor City Machine Guns. And I thought that Josh Matthews made kind of a big of a blunder in that when he was reminding the audience who the Motor City Machine Guns are, or when he was introducing them to people who had never seen them before, he does mention that they're former Impact Tag Team Champions. He does mention that they're former X Division Champions, the two of them separately, but he fails to mention that Chris Sabin is actually a former Impact World Champion himself.
He did later on in the match.
No, he did later on in the match, but to me, like, that's something just in and of itself is huge. When you have something happening for a vacant title, this guy could have potentially been the person returning. So the fact that he wanted to reunite with his tag team partner to answer this open challenge, that makes being in this open challenge that much more important. So I thought like that could have been a little something. But the match itself, I thought it was a really good tag match, a really good opener. If they had had a crowd, I thought it would be even better. Sid, we'll start with you. How did you feel about it?
I like this opener. It was a fun opener here. Motor City Machine Guns getting the victory. I expected that, but at the same time, if it was like a one-off, if it wasn't like something that it seems like they're gonna be here for a little while, I thought the Rascals could get the victory here. So it was a little bit of mystery with the outcome, which I always enjoyed there. So, but I did like the Motor City Machine Guns getting the victory. I gave this match 3.25 stars.
Ness, how about you?
Again, I agree with Sid. I actually love the match. Again, you guys know I'm marked for the high-flying, action-packed based type of matches. Both teams were pretty much evenly matched. The only thing that like really, I guess, would quote unquote stand out is that the Motor City Machine Guns have way more experience than the Rascals, working together. And that's really what it all came down to pretty much at the end of the match. In my opinion, it was just like basically seeing a mirror of both teams because the tag team offense, the tandem offense between both teams were like evenly matched. And again, it was just more so the experience of the Motor City Machine Guns working together before these guys, the Rascals were even in a wrestling ring, That's pretty much what gave them the push to go over, kayfabe wise, obviously. But I love the match. I gave it 3.75 stars. Again, I'm biased because of the style of match that these guys were.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I really like this match. I'm sad that there was no fans in attendance because it kind of took away from the return and from the match itself because the match itself was really good. I like the back and forth in the match. I like the fact that we had the past of Impact or TNA versus basically the future of Impact Wrestling when it comes to the tag division. Because the Rascals are still so young and they're really good, but you can tell, it's not their time yet. I get it. I personally would have went with the Rascals. I thought the Rascals, deserved the win, but it is what it is. I'm glad to see the Motor City Machine Guns come back. I thought Sabin was retired, so I was fucking surprised. I had written them off completely. These guys aren't coming back, so that's always a good thing. It was good all around.
Yeah, so I thought that it was a good 3-star kind of opener, and I agree with you guys that it seemed as though the Rascals should pick up the win. But then later, when you see what happens, as we will get to, it kind of then makes sense why Motor City Machine Gun do pick up that win. After this match, did anybody have anything else?
I was gonna say it wasn't really too much of like the crazy spot fest, like I think like you usually would expect from them. I did like the fact that Motor City Machine Guns played more of like the subtle heels in here, kind of showing off that they were the veterans and had the experience over the Rascals. So it told a good story as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like you said about far as the spots and stuff like that. It was more like there was a few in there, but it was more technical based because the Motor City Machine Guns aren't as young as they used to be. So all that that style, they can work it a little bit, but not as high as the Rascals. So the Rascals pretty much had to basically work the current Motor City Machine Gun style, which it made for a great match.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that they've been working together a lot and coming up with new double team maneuvers because they were pulling out their old spots, but they were doing a lot of new moves. But it was very nice.
Which fed into the new style though, because they actually like had those moments where it was just like spot for spot, and it made that match just so much better. So
I love that last chancery into the drop kick. I thought that was. Oh,
that's vintage. I was screaming in my living room. Vintage Motor City Machine Guns, right?
Just seeing that was great.
We don't have one of your Chris star ratings here, Chris. You don't have.
You know me. I don't do fucking star ratings.
No, but you do your own personal one.
This rate. I rated this the formula. You know why? Because the formula always works. You start with a popping tag match in the beginning of the show to open the show, and it keeps you invested for the rest of the show. Me personally will go into why I didn't really like or go into the second half of the show, but it kept me invested because the action in the first match was so good.
So moving things along, they have a backstage segment with Taya Valkyrie talking to Johnny Bravo about how she needs to be the one who wins tonight, the Gauntlet match. And then Rosemary comes up and says she needs to be the one who wins in the Gauntlet match. Johnny Bravo being torn between two of the women involved in the Gauntlet match, which will have interesting repercussions in the Gauntlet match itself. However, the match right after this is Moose defending the title he didn't win against Tommy Dreamer in a old school rules match, which I guess apparently old school means hardcore. They could have just said a hardcore match. It would have been more on brand for Tommy Dreamer to say hardcore match. But
we'll get into that.
So Moose picks up the win here, as he should. I don't think they should hand a fake title to Tommy Dreamer for any reason. But Chris, we'll start with you since you seemed interested in this match. What were your thoughts?
Well, no, it just clicked to me that the reason why it was an old school real match is because they can't say ECW style match on TV because they'll get sued. So
I mean, they could say hardcore match though.
No, fuck hardcore. It's ECW style match. That's why they didn't say it and they went old school. So it makes sense. I figured it out. No, but as much as I will, to the death of me, proclaim that Moose doesn't even have a real championship right now. It's a good storyline for him to keep this shit up, and it was better than I thought. I anticipated a real shit show, but it was good. I had a few spots that made me like, oh, so and I'm a Moose mark. He's a very good athlete. His character work is the best character work I've seen him put in his career. He's on a roll right now. I personally want to see him in the heavyweight division world championship, title picture. But, it was what it was, and it got Moose over. That's all it really needed to do.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that with what he was doing, that the backstage segment where he's talking to Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer comes up to him and says that the TNA Championship Committee has given me a title match. He just looks at him and goes, "There's no TNA Championship Committee." It's like, well, yeah, but there's no title that you're holding. So, Ness, what were your thoughts on the fake title match?
It was alright. It was solid. Seeing Well, one, I want to say that they like re-leathered the title.
Yeah.
I love the look of the title. It kind of goes with Moose's like this whole gimmick he's going on with now that he's the self-proclaimed god of wrestling or another wrestling god. You know that he's going to get sued by JBL. Again, the match itself was solid for a hardcore match with Dreamer. You know, as much as we all love Dreamer, if you've seen a Dreamer hardcore match, you've seen them all. Nothing really stood out to me. So, I mean, it was solid. I gave it about 2.5 stars.
Yeah, Chris, what was your rating for this?
That's the rating right there. That was the rating.
My rating was
I'm just gonna look forward to Romeo putting LOL in like large letters.
Oh man, I like the guy said. This match was a lot better than you expected. It was solid. Moose, like Chris said, I got to piggyback off what he said. Moose has put in the best character work and the best mic work of his entire career, and he's really like fully into this delusional self-proclaimed world champion character that I just want to see it last for a few months. And I feel now with the outcome of the main event, there's the perfect Impact world champion for him to play off of with this character. So especially with their history, it plays right into what's the next chapter for Moose. So I gave this match 2 3/4 stars. Yeah. And I really enjoyed Tommy Dreamer's ode to his mentor Terry Funk with the Moose Sucks Eggs shirt.
I thought the match was pretty good. As I said, I did not expect. I don't think anybody expected Tommy Dreamer to win. So right person wins, and that's really what's most important. One thing I will say is that when a couple weeks ago Moose, I think it was the match against Crazy Steve, he beats Crazy Steve, and instead of playing his music, they played Trouble, Trouble, Trouble. And so I originally thought maybe it would make sense if EC3 returned here, focusing against Moose, which clearly didn't happen. But this is where I originally thought EC3 would pop out, and they'd have him coming back as a face and not, I guess, a destroyer of worlds that he looks to be.
It was too obvious after that teaser. That was a red herring.
Yeah. But the other thing I will say is every person that they actually made a tease for is somebody who came back, which I thought was interesting as well. So after this, guys, we had the Knockouts Gauntlet match, which I'm sure is going to be a favored match for many of the people on this panel. We started off with Tasha Steelz and Kylie Ray, and Ness, take us away on this one.
All right, I gotta be honest. I fell asleep during this match. I woke up towards the end where it finished.
How Jake wanted
You have to appreciate the honesty.
He was
appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Fell asleep.
From what I seen, it didn't do anything for me. And then like I said, I woke up towards the end and I was like, oh, all right. But I will say this. Gotta give Stat King his props. Went with his girl. Kylie Ray got the victory. So and out of everybody in it, like she kind of had the least momentum, so to speak, in my opinion. But we'll see where it goes. I really can't say anything because I didn't really see much because I fell asleep. Like I was but from what I'm hearing, it wasn't that fucking great anyway, so I ain't missed shit. So
well, I think Sid is somebody who stayed awake during the match. So Sid, what were your thoughts?
I enjoyed parts of this, and then there was just other parts where it was a lot of mid-time spots, a lot of awkward spots, a lot of punches and kicks that weren't landing, and the camera angle was just showing it that it wasn't landing. So it was just like it seemed like the production was off. It seemed like a couple of the ladies was off, but I was happy with the outcome. I like Kylie Ray, and I love how this was a highlight, spotlight on the women's division, the Knockouts division for Impact Wrestling, and how strong and deep that Knockouts division is, and in the fact of every knockout had something going on, that the announcers was like, this person is friends with this person, oh, this person and this person have been working together, oh, this person and this person, everyone had their own story. So I love that about the division, and I put out the tweet, please Impact, bring back the Knockouts tag team titles, because this is a good time to do it, because they have a couple of really good tag teams there. So I gave this match 2.5 stars. Because, yes, like I said, it was a lot of things off in this match, and this was probably my lowest rated match on the show. But like I said, I did see the positives here.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Sid. It was a very good, showcase of all. I didn't realize how deep the roster was for the women's division and Impact until I seen all the women in the ring, and I was like, shit. Between the characters and between the women that can actually like really work in the ring, they have a good balance of a woman's roster. So I actually enjoyed it a little bit. It was a clusterfuck at times.
Yeah.
Alicia Edwards came in, and I was like, who let their fucking teenage daughter enter a battle royal? I was just like, but it was intriguing. It was everybody put in the work that they had to. The right person won with Kylie Ray, and I like the way that they intertwined all the stories that were going in between Susie, Kylie Ray, and Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, Havoc and Nevaeh and Kimberly. They did a good job of making the women feel important, and that's what we want to see, especially nowadays in wrestling. You know what I mean?
The only thing that kind of confused me about the match was that in the build, they made sort of a semi-big deal about Madison Rayne returning to the ring and leaving the commentary table, and mentioning that Don Callis would be part of the commentary team because she was leaving the ring, leaving to go back into the ring, and she didn't really it didn't really manifest into anything that substantial in the match itself. They could have just not had her, or they could have gone with a 3-person booth and had if they were dead set on having Callis be part of the pay-per-view commentary team. As for the match itself, obviously I'm happy with the outcome. Kylie Ray is one of the local promotions here, the Freelance. She is the world champion here, and Freelance has produced the current. Well, I guess we're kind of giving something away, but one of the longest reigning Impact Tag Team Champion, also Mustafa Ali. So they have a long history of putting out quality talent, and she was almost with AEW for a while. So we're going to see how they transition her into the main event scene for the Knockouts Championship. I don't think she has faced anybody before. She has challenged for the Knockouts Championship before, so it's going to be a fresh face, in the title scene. And as somebody who is booked and kind of is her character of that perennial face, always happy to be there and just ready to do her job, it'll be good to see her go up against a potentially really good heel, and we'll get to that down the road. But moving onwards, we have Willie Mack defending his X Division Championship against Chris Bay. Coming into the match, they do the recap video that tells us that Johnny Swinger could be at ringside, but he now realizes that Chris Bay is just attempting to use him, and he's saying, no, Chris Bay, you're going to have to do this on your own. So this match is a singles match for the X Division Championship. And Sid, what were your thoughts on the match?
First of all, you forgot to mention the Swing Man showing up in Carl or Ole Anderson's Jaguar. The Swing Man didn't see Ole, so he just took it for himself. Daddy. So gotta give it up to the Swing Man. But this match was probably the best match on the card up until this point. Chris Bay is such an innovator in the ring. Like, he does so many different moves in the ring, or he does a variation of different moves that is just, it makes him so unique in the ring. And you kind of see why guys like Cody in the past have had such high praise for this guy, because he's so smooth in the ring. He's very reminiscent of Shane Strickland in the way that he moves in the ring. It's very smooth how he moves in the ring, and it was a big coup for Impact Wrestling to sign him, and they took advantage of that by putting the title on him. This was a really good matchup, a really fun, really X Division style match, and that's why I enjoyed it most of all. I gave it 3 3/4 stars.
Ness, how about you?
Man, pretty much piggyback off of what Sid said. Well, again, as I always say for these type style matches, I'm a little bit biased. These guys definitely went out there and pretty much showed what the X Division is about. Willie Mack not really being the size, so to speak, of an X Division type of wrestler, but he has the talent and the ability to go out there and wrestle like a guy the size of Chris Bay or anybody else that's, a staple in the X Division. So the action was great. I love the match. I gave it 3.5 stars. Not really up on Chris Bay as I should be or would like to be, but I'll definitely be looking out for him even more now with this after this match, because I definitely became a fan.
Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I honestly think it should have got more time. I think they could have put in a lot more work.
Yeah, definitely.
And it just towards the end, it got a little sloppy, like in some spots for me. I just feel like they were just it just felt a little awkward. But it caught me off guard. I didn't think Chris Bay was gonna get the title so fast. And I mean, he's good. He's really good. I'm a big Willie Mack fan. I hope this isn't like a one and done. I hope they keep feuding for the belt for a few months, because I think they could do so much more. I would like to see them in an X Division Championship match, like an actual X, with the ropes.
Ultimate X.
Ultimate X.
Yeah. I would actually like to see him in an Ultimate X match. Like, you really want to bring some much needed importance back into that X Division scene, you could have an Ultimate X match, just between them two, with other people too. But I rated this match surprising, because I was surprised that Chris Bay came out as the winner.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say the match I really want to see now is Chris Bay versus I'll give away one of the participants in our main event, Rich Swann. That's the match I really want to see for the X Division title.
Speaking of how you guys said it felt short, I just looked. This is the shortest match on the card. It's just 10 minutes and 1 second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said in the chat.
Moose and Tommy got longer than this.
It's ridiculous.
Sid, I thought when you were saying about how smooth Chris Bay is, you were going to just reference other former X Division champions, just famously smooth people. Amazing Red comes to mind, just as somebody who's always been an influence on a lot of X Division wrestling in general. But before this, we have Heath Slater, who comes out and wearing the same free agent shirt, I think, that he was wearing on Raw.
Yep.
And so Heath Slater, well, I mean, he just says his name is Heath. He doesn't give away a last name or anything like that. But we know who he is. We know he's got kids, and we know that he's a free agent. And he's cutting his promo, and we have somebody show up to kind of give him the stare down, be the person to oppose him in this promo, Rohit Raju. And it's kind of funny to me in that Rohit Raju actually is making a valid point, in that all these people are going to be coming back. And what does that mean for the people who have always been here? In the case of Rohit Raju, it means getting taken out. But, I mean, for everybody else, it's going to be interesting to see how they jockey for position. And so, guys, what do you guys think of Heath showing up in Impact? Chris?
Well, I mean, it was expected, honestly. I mean, they've been teasing it for weeks. He's been teasing it personally on his social media. I liked it. I would like to formally, make Rohit Raju Brony, because he's always getting beat. He's always getting beat the fuck up. And I got love for him, because he's advanced so much in his career, like in his in-ring work and character work. So, but I hope it drives the competition for the young dudes that still need a little work. And, everybody sees Impact as like this 3rd or 4th tier company, but I hope the young cats in that company now feel the pressure, because they have these old veterans that have name value and have drawn, somewhat. So hopefully it just ups the competition.
Ness, how about you?
It was alright for what it was. Heath Slater's or Heath, if you want to go like that. He's a fun guy, fun character. I don't know how much importance he's gonna bring to Impact or in anything he does. If this is more than just a one-off thing, we'll probably we're gonna get into the other scene that he was in, or should I do that now?
Go for it, because it's actually right after the X Division match. So.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So he's in the back, getting up with his good buddy Rhino, and I forgot the guy's name.
Scott D'Amore.
Yeah, Scott D'Amore. He pretty much was like, "Oh yeah, it's nice to see you, but you gotta get the fuck out of here." Rhino just says, "Yo, just show up on Tuesday." So who knows? These guys might get back together, go for the tag, go be in the tag division, or who knows where you go from there. But it was nice to see Heath.
Sid, any thoughts on the debut of Heath?
I had a few thoughts. First thought was, okay, this is cool. He's here. But at the end of it, this is the most underwhelming of all these surprises, to be honest. Yeah. Because the minute Rohit Raju came out, I was like, you just made this guy come to this company and he's in the same exact position he left the other company. Like, he's feuding with Rohit Raju. My God. I was like, unless Rohit is out here to ask him if he wants to create a new band with him, I am not interested in this segment at all. But
the former band had an Indian guy in it, so
exactly. But they saved it to me with the backstage segment with Scott D'Amore. I like Scott D'Amore just coming up. Nah, you got the shirt. It said free agent. We ain't signed you. You gotta get the fuck up. I like that. I dug that so much, and I dug the little cliffhanger with Rhino telling him, come back on Tuesday. What I would have liked is a correlation to connect the two scenes and have someone like the what's the guy's good name? The Triple XL, AC Romero and Larry D. Have them come up and jump Heath. Rhino come out, make the save, you bring them back together. You have that little image in the ring with them together, and then we have the backstage segment, and we have Scott D'Amore be like, nah, you don't belong here, get the fuck out. Like, it would have connected a lot better to me and came off better.
Yeah, because if in the situation you're talking about, right now, Heath's showing up because Rhino says, just show up and I'll help you get in. Whereas if they had been jumped and Rhino makes a save, then Heath has a legitimate argument to make that he has a reason to be there. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think if they had found a way to tie it in together, tie it better, it would have been overall would have worked the segment a lot better. But speaking of a possible reunion of a tag team, right after this we had our tag team titles being defended when the North took on challengers of an unlikely duo coming together of Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. Chris, actually, Sid, we'll start with you and what your thoughts on this match.
I would say out of all the build-ups to the matches at Slammiversary, outside of the women's title match, this was the strongest build-up, but this was also the match I didn't expect much from. And at the end of this, the whole match, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm so amazed that Ken Shamrock is 56 years old. He looks amazing. He's doing what he has to do. They're keeping him in a limited role. And then, I don't know what the fuck happened in the final 3 minutes. They just said, Ken, just do whatever the fuck you want. This motherfucker did a top roll belly to mouth. I thought this nigga was gonna get a heart attack. Halfway down. I was like, grab on Josh Alexander. Like, he was just like, why is he up there? He do not look like he need to be up there. And then the plancha, why does he keep doing? every time he does the plancha, his foot gets caught on that top rope. It's like, why do you keep doing the plancha?
But like more importantly, while he was running in the ring to go over the rope, they moved out the way. Like and there was enough time for him to stop himself. He could have been like, oh shit, man. Oh no, let me grab this rope and just hold on, not go over it, not just. Oh my god.
I like the story of the match, but yeah, those last couple of spots just kind of brought it down a little bit. I don't rate it as low as the Battle Royal, but it was I would say maybe I'll go all right with it, because up until those last couple of spots, it was all right. I give it 2 3/4 stars.
Ness.
Oh man. At first, the match started off, pretty decent, pretty solid. Shamrock and Callahan were getting in a little more offense than I was expecting. I figured, the North being the longest reigning tag champions, they would pretty much dominate. But obviously, they really wouldn't because of the build-up to the match. Towards the end, I'm just going to say this. I was a huge Ken Shamrock fan growing up. As random as, well, I still am, but he fucking disappointed the shit out of me. And that's pretty much my rating for the end of the match. I was fucking disappointed. He's just standing around looking lost. I said that he's like somebody's fucking drunk uncle with dementia. He's just I don't know, it just broke down where, obviously, usually makeshift tag teams, this happens in their matches where, they have, as Mauro Ranallo would call it, the malfunction in the junction, where, they end up having, they running into each other and stuff like that. So I figured that was going to happen, but it just came off awkward and really cringy. And I don't know what the fuck Shamrock was doing, man. It made me sad to see him like this. I was really hurt. You guys thought I was hurt by Naito and all the shit he went through during the New Japan Cup weekend. This guy was one of my favorites growing up. And I'm not even going to turn my back on him. He's still one of my favorites. But I got to call a spade. He just looked so lost towards the finish of this match. And I don't know. I'm not going to give it a number of stars rating. I was just disappointed towards the end of the match.
My favorite moment of this match is when Callahan is going for a pin. Shamrock's just standing there
fucking lost. He's lost.
And then I want to say he's trying to pin Ethan Page because Josh Alexander gets into the ring and dives to break it up, and Shamrock's just looking at him like, oh, you can do that?
Yeah. Oh, can I say one thing? I really did like one thing. The dueling ankle locks. Yes. I love that spot. I like that.
That was one of the better visuals and the better spots of the night. There was positives to this match. I can't snap on it. Like the North is one of the best tag teams and probably the most underrated tag team in professional wrestling today. Ethan Page is one of the better heels in Impact Wrestling, and he just 100% is fully into his character, and he delivers it for an entire matchup, and he does great character work within the match, which is the reason why I feel like he's very underrated when it comes to in all of professional wrestling. And Josh Alexander, he's just a great technical, hard-hitting type of professional wrestler. Yeah. He's a real throwback to the Steiner brothers of old, the Rick Steiner. He's kind of like the Canadian Rick Steiner in a few ways. So I very much like the North. I enjoy Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan, in my eyes, has been Impact Wrestling's top star. That no matter if he's in the title picture or not, whatever storyline he's in, it's usually the most important or one of the most important stories going on in the promotion. And he proved that on the build-up going into this match. It just didn't all come together at the end,
And
Chris?
I was going to say, the reason why I changed up the order is just so for this guy can close out with his rating.
Bro. This match is rated what the fuck? First of all, we're gonna start off with a positive. Shamrock looks like the world's most dangerous abuelo. All right, he is the grandpa that'll tear your fucking head off of your neck, and we're gonna compliment him for that. The first like 5 minutes, like Ness said, was good because you have to give credit to the North and Sammy for doing the best they can with this match because they can work and they work the match they work the match the best they can. So the first few minutes were solid, but once Shamrock, all 56 years of that motherfucker started hitting and he started getting gassed and the headshot started kicking in and he didn't know where the fuck he was at. He like Stat King said he stood in the middle of the he didn't know where the fuck we. I can't explain. It was just it made the match really be like it went from being a decent match to going like, damn, like this is what Shamrock is now as a professional wrestler. Probably still beat the shit out of me, but as a professional wrestler, I'm like, damn. So it took away from the match, obviously, for me. But
he's still feeling those Roy Gracie shots.
Oh man, he's feeling more than that. He's feeling them headshots in the fucking Attitude Era from steel chairs
from those Rock steel
and the Rock, triple threat steel cage head first. Here, take this, Ken. You know, it's crazy, but you know, I give credit to the North, like Sid said, they complement each other so well. They are the most underrated tag team in the world. They don't get talked about enough, and I'm just excited to see what the future holds for them. Sammy is one of the most important parts of Impact Wrestling, and hopefully he goes on to something more important than this because this was like damn.
Yeah, Sammy has an ability to bring great chemistry to anybody he's working with. The match after this, I felt, also had amazing chemistry.
Well, you forgot the machine guns coming out.
Oh, I keep missing the So after the match, we have the North retaining their championships. They say that they are the greatest tag team in Impact history, in wrestling. They are the longest reigning, and because of this, our Motor City Machine Guns, who had just beaten the Rascals earlier and answered that open challenge, now come out and say that, well, maybe you're not the greatest tag team in the world, but you're going to have an opportunity to prove that you are who you say you are. And they tell the North that this Tuesday they're going to be in an Impact World Tag Team Championship match against none other than Motor City Machine Guns. So now it puts into better perspective the fact that Motor City Machine Guns won the match against the Rascals. As we were saying earlier, if it was just a one-off, it wouldn't have made as much sense. But now that we know that Motor City looks like they're going to be staying around for a little while, or at least to do some kind of program with the North, that's a good sign. And it also reinforces the fact that the North have really run through the division and owned the division because they have to now get talent from outside the company, bring back legends, so to speak, of Impact Wrestling and of their tag team division to provide a challenge for the North. So, guys, what do you think about where we're going to be going forward with the tag team division?
This weekend moved Impact right into that number 2 position for the second best tag team division in all of professional wrestling. They had, in my opinion, the best tag team division in all of professional wrestling 18 months ago when LAX and the Lucha Bros were tearing it up and had one of the best rivalries of last year at the beginning of 2019. But they got gutted by the expansion of AEW, so they needed to regroup. They need to replenish. They had the North as the anchor. They had the Rascals kind of underneath, but slowly but surely, whether it was through indies or bringing back old tag teams like Reno Scum from the past, or the Motor City Machine Guns like now, the signing of the Good Brothers, Rich Swann coming back, and you got Rich Swann and Willie Mack. You got Heath coming in, Heath and Rhino. So their tag team division has quickly became stacked, and it's one of the more interesting ones that I'm looking forward to watching.
Ness, how do you feel about the tag team division?
Pretty much what Sid said. It's looking fairly good. Far as this tag team match is coming up Tuesday, I got kind of mixed feelings about it. Like, I love the Motor City Machine Guns. I really can't give a full opinion because obviously the match hasn't happened yet. But it's like, all right, Motor City Machine Guns are back. You know, it's cool if they win, but, you know, is it great that the only team that we can have beat the North are, you know, the guys that you just brought back, you know? And even if the North go over, then who else is it for them to face after this? But, you know, I don't want to get into the dynamics, be all smarkish about it, but I'm just looking forward to that tag match.
Chris, any thoughts?
Yeah, the tag division immediately does look kind of stacked, and I'm looking forward to seeing Gallows and Anderson because I think MCM pretty much is going to be like a stepping stone, like just another notch under the Nord's belt, just to make them look more legendary than they already looking in Impact Wrestling. So I think if you're going to give anybody else the belts besides the North, it has to be Gallows and Anderson. They have the most name value globally between Japan, between WWE, that stars that have been following them. It only makes sense unless, I mean, they don't really have another tag team in the division. I will say their tag team division is diverse, but there's nobody that's really ready to be the tag team division's champions. The Rascals aren't ready yet. The Rascals are the most logical choice, but they're not ready yet.
I thought after this past week's Deaners match that the Deaners would slowly be being positioned into a spot where they could possibly go after the tag team titles. But with everything that just happened tonight, Deaners going to have to take a back seat, speaking of what Rohit Raji was complaining about. But after this, we do have our Knockouts division match. And here we have Jordynne Grace defending the title against the virtuosa Diana Perato, who is made a very, very quick rise in the company from when she debuted and when she signed with the company. I thought this was a really great match. One of the better matches of the night. Ness, we'll start with you.
So this is where the male in me comes out. Shout out to both their wardrobes because that's what kept me interested at first.
So you didn't fall asleep during this women's match.
No. This is probably my favorite match. This is probably my favorite match on the card, to be honest. Diana Perato. How do I say this without sounding like drunk guy JJ? She's extremely technical. Like, you don't see that out of a lot of women's wrestlers today. She can definitely stand on par with a male wrestler out of, you know, the technical style. Jordynne Grace, thick mama pump. God bless her. She can definitely go in the ring, you know, no question asked. Both of these ladies coming together, they put on a phenomenal match. I don't have any bad thing to say about this match at all. Like, the two styles, you know, Jordynne Grace being more so power and strength versus, you know, Diana with the technical wrestling ability. The two styles clashed and made for a great match. So again, my personal opinion, this was my favorite match on the card, and they both, and then like even with Diana, the whole build up to the match, she had to go over. You know, it would have diminished everything. You know, her just coming to the company, her having the momentum going into the match, far as, you know, going after Jordynne Grace. And Jordynne Grace, she's been a great women's champion up until this point. So it just made logical sense that Diana, you know, targeted her and accomplished what she set out to do.
Yeah. Chris, how about you?
I thought it was a good match. I thought it got better as it went on because I kind of wasn't expecting much. I didn't really see a lot of Diana Perato, you know, like she was in NXT. And I really didn't see a lot of her. So I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be, honestly, like, you know, a couple minutes back and forth, and then Jordynne Grace would dominate. And as the match went on, I'm like, holy shit, they're telling a good story. And Diana Perato pulled out the win. So I was very surprised. It was a good match. I have no complaints. I mean, it caught me off guard. It was a good move.
Oh, do you have a rating for this one?
I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, shit. Shit. Holy shit! It was a good match. It surprised me. I am a new
Sid,
surprise, so we'll go holy shit.
Sid, I think you really enjoyed this match. So take us home. How do you feel about it?
I really enjoyed this match. This was the best matchup when it came to an in-ring story, when it came to psychology. Like Ness said, it was a very strong story in telling the difference in the two characters and the two ladies. You had Jordan Grace, who is the more powerful of the two, who used her strength to her advantage, while Diana Perato is the submission specialist. She's a master in technical wrestling, but she's also strategic, and she focused on the arm from the first minute of the match and wore it down. It was very similar to the story that was in Moxley versus Cage from Fight for the Fallen, where it was all about the focus on that arm, and it was a story that they told in the build-up. So you also like how the build-up to the match falls into the story of the match. It makes everything come together. It makes for a strong presentation. Like the guys said, I definitely agree with the decision to put the title on Diana Perato. It made a huge statement, and it really told you what the company sees in her. They see her as an asset, and they see her as someone to kind of build the division around. And her aura is very reminiscent to Tessa Blanchard in 2017, 2018 in Impact Wrestling when she came in, where she seemed like she was pegged to be the Knockouts champion. That's how it felt when Diana Perato came in. So I'm glad they pulled the trigger a lot faster than they even did with Tessa. And honestly, Jordan didn't need a long run. She ended the reign of the longest reigning Knockouts champion in history, Talia Valkyrie. So she has that on her mantle already. She didn't need a long reign. It was all about her using this title to kind of make a new star, and that's what she did in this matchup. I gave it 4 stars. The best match of the night, in my opinion.
I'm already looking forward to Kylie Ray versus Diana Perato. I think that's going to be a really strong match when they get to it. Not sure when, but because Kylie Ray is the number 1 contender, they will be meeting sooner or later, and that'll be an interesting match because Kylie, from a in-ring standpoint, is similar to Jordan Grace in that she has a lot of power. That's one of her key strengths, and Diana's strength, it seems to be, is taking away that power in ways that you least expect it. She's going to come for the arm, and now it kind of feels as though no matter what you do, it's not that she is better than the person she's facing, it's that she's outthinking them, and she's having the strategy to figure out how best to take away whatever it is their strength. And if they do meet, that's going to be a really strong match. After this,
what did you give the match?
Oh, for me, I gave it 4 stars as well. This for me was my match of the night, by far.
I'm thankful you didn't underrate this like you did Show versus Shane. Continue.
That's fair. That's why I let you guys give your ratings first, so I can be like, all right, okay. So how I felt is. And hopefully, one of the next times I'll be able to give those ratings will be at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view roundtable. And they made the announcement after this match that Bound for Glory will be happening October 24th. Unfortunately, because of COVID and the pandemic, we don't know if it will be anywhere. They didn't announce the location. It could just be closed set, as Heath Slater found out tonight. But we're already looking forward to Bound for Glory. I think it would be an interesting time if they, because of just how stacked the roster is, if they wanted to bring back the Bound for Glory series. I think now would be a pretty interesting time to do it. You're having the company transition, but at the same time, you can say we're honoring our past and we're looking to what got us to where we are, and we're going to build off of that with the talent of the present for the future. And speaking of that, coming right after the Bound for Glory announcement is where Impact is going to be going for the future in our main event of the night. It is the world title match with a vacant title after Tessa Blanchard was stripped of the title and unceremoniously fired for not upholding her end of the bargain when it comes to what she needed to do as champion and as a contracted TNA or Impact wrestler. And so with a vacant title, we have a lot of people jockeying for it. And what we thought was originally a 5-way match turned into 3 people and a mystery opponent, and then magically turned back into a 5-way match. So Sid, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on the main event?
Well, like you said, the first mystery opponent revealed himself as Rich Swann, which was kind of cool because we had this segment earlier in the night where Rich Swann came out of the locker room of Gallows and Anderson, or they told us was the locker room of Gallows and Anderson. He was still on his crutches, and his promo did tease that he was going after the world title. And I kind of thought with the way his promo was going, he was going to drop the crutches and be like, oh, I'm in the world title match. I thought he was going to say it right then and there during the backstage segment. But I like the fact that they saved it to the end because it was a nice red herring because the Twitter fingers were all putting up their tweets like, this is your surprise? This is your surprise? You say, oh, this is a big, oh, you're just like WWE. They told us the Moment of Bliss would have a huge guest. Ah. So, yeah, they were all ready to say it. They were already up on there. And then they hit you immediately with the real surprise, which was Eric Young. And I liked it. I liked it that he came back in the character that he left Impact Wrestling in, the world-class lunatic. And as the match progressed, it seemed like he was letting go of 5 years worth of wrestling frustration. Wrestling frustration in this match. This man got split open within minutes of this matchup. Like, he was like, I haven't been able to bleed in years. Like, no, I literally looked down for a minute, and then I looked up, this motherfucker's bleeding. I'm like, what the fuck? Did he do this shit on purpose? Oh my god. But yo, this match was really good. Like, if it wasn't for like the strong story in the women's title match, this would be right up there for match of the night. I gave it 4 stars as well because this was entertaining throughout. There was never a slow moment of this match. It told a great story with each of the rivalries involved. I love the story between Trey and Ace Austin. I see a lot of what people say about MJF and Jungle Boy and AEW, how they're 2 young stars that they need to build as a years-long rivalry. That's what they need to do in Impact with Trey and Ace Austin. These guys started off in the X Division with Ace Austin trying to hit on Trey's mom, and now they progress to this 5-way in the main event of Slammiversary. I said it on Twitter earlier. If there's not a main event world title match for Impact of Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin, I'm over you, Impact. I've gave up on you before, and I'll give up on you again. 2 young stars right there, a great babyface and a great heel. If this is not a world title match within a year by next year's Slammiversary, you're doing something wrong, guys. You're doing something wrong. But I just love those 2 in this match. They had very strong performances. Rich Swann reminded us why he's one of the best babyfaces in wrestling, and they set up a new feud for going further between him and Eric Young. With the way Eric Young was eliminated from the match and the way he reacted, it bring back the lunatic character, so it established his character as well as a new feud for himself. It got Rich Swann to fuck up out of there, which was good as well. And then it all ended with Ace Austin's, like, the feud that put Ace Austin on the map to me. The first feud that I remember for Ace Austin last year was him being the scumbag who came out with the Ace Austin 316 says, I just banged your wife. And for him to look across the ring at Eddie Edwards, I was like, whatever the outcome is, they've done the right thing, because if Ace Austin wins, he beats the guy that he kind of established his whole character with, and he propels himself to the next level and the youngest Impact World Champion. If Eddie Edwards wins, he gets his full redemption, and he finally wins back the Impact World title by beating the guy he never beat before, and that's what happened. And it had the nice babyface ending, so I loved it. Before we get into the post-match, I'll let you guys speak on it, but I love this match.
Ness, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I enjoyed the match as well. I'm a Rich Swann mark. Been watching the guy for years. So, again, after seeing him on the crutches at first, the last thing I expected was for him to come out in the match. That might not have been the surprise that other people were looking for and expecting. But when I seen him come out, I kind of marked out. EY coming back, That was great. He's been getting shitted on in WWE for like the last however many years. He's back in his element. He immediately felt important. You know, that story got built up. Also, Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards. I like that the match came down to them two being the final two, because all the build up and animosity between those two. I overall enjoyed the match. Again, Rich Swann coming out was the highlight for me. But again, seeing EY back, the match itself was good. All the guys, different styles. They worked very well together. You know, usually matches like this are usually just clusterfucks and people are getting in each other's way. But everybody, you know, they let the other person have their time to shine. So overall, it was a good match. I gave it 4 stars.
Chris, how about you?
I really enjoyed this match. I did not expect Rich Swann at all, especially because I expected him in the promo to throw out the crutches. But once he didn't do it, I was like, all right, you know what, whatever. They're saving him for the future. I was expecting EC3 or EY. So once Rich Swann came out, I was pleasantly surprised. And then EY came out, so I was even more pleasantly surprised. 5 ways do tend to get a little cluttery. I do think it got a little cluttery at times, but for the most part, it was smooth. And I didn't see Eddie Edwards winning, so shit, it was just a night full of surprises for me. It makes sense with playing back to Moose being the TNA Heavyweight Championship, and we can go back to this rivalry and combine the belts. So maybe Eddie's just a transitional championship finally for my man Moose. So we'll see what happens. Moose. We'll see what happens. I mean, I applaud. That's my rating. I applaud this main event, and I applaud the whole card. It was the cherry on top for what was a decent, you know, solid pay-per-view.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh no, I was gonna say it wasn't until this week's Impact with that video package that they had on Eddie John, that they had on Eddie, that I didn't have any clue Eddie would win, but that was the first time when they did that video package this week on Impact. I was like, wow, they're really like
they
making
dug
this.
Deep for it.
Yeah, I was like, they're really making me feel like Eddie has a chance to win now.
Yeah.
And they built him up as a legend, because I didn't realize how much he actually has done in Impact. So when I heard his whole resume, I was like, holy shit, Eddie is really he's
Between
really
the singles career, and then you add in the Wolves, it's that's
exactly.
a lot. I will say that I also did not think Rich Swann was coming out whatsoever when he showed up on the crutches and he's talking about how he's looking focused on the world title. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, once you recover, that's probably what you would do. But tonight, I don't see how it's relevant. So when he comes out and drops the crutches, I was like, that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
So then having EY come out, it seemed as though if you're crazy, you can just pretend that the last 5 years are just a bad dream. And, just start bleeding immediately and just come out. You know, you gotta, sometimes if you go insane, you get your sanity back. So that's always a good thing. And he adds a lot to this roster when it comes to having a real deranged character who babyfaces can play off of. That's going to be something great going forward. The storyline with him and Rich Swann that they're developing with the chair, he's trying to re-injure this man right after he's coming back. That's just the kind of sadisticness nature of it. I thought was really great, and in that sense, it made Eddie Edwards more and more seem like an afterthought. And that was kind of what was cool about how then over the course of the match, it becomes more and more coming down to, is this going to be the moment where Ace Austin becomes the youngest champion? And then all of a sudden it's not going to happen. It's going to be Eddie Edwards. And one other thing that I really liked about it was Trey, repeatedly said, the first thing I'm going to do is go after Ace Austin. And sure enough, as soon as the bell rang, he just charged straight at him. And I thought that was a good thing to see that babyface character say, you know what, I want the world title, but I really want to beat him up more, almost to the point that I want it more than the title. And so then after the match, we have one of the moments of the night. If you guys have been wondering, we had this announcement earlier in the day that the Good Brothers have officially signed. We have Johnny Swinger stealing a car that he thought was meant for someone. Yeah.
Oli.
I don't know where he got that idea. But we had not seen the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, throughout the entire course of the night. Now, previously, and this is where I made the mistake, and Josh can get on me, is that one of the teases for Gallows and Anderson involved the Aces and Eights. And I thought that the Aces and Eights were going to make a big comeback, and that did not happen. However, Madman Fulton comes back down to the ring after being tossed out earlier, and he just lays into Eddie Edwards, which I thought was kind of cool because when they had the matches where Madman Fulton was going up against the other people in this match before we knew mystery opponents or anything like that, Trey was a disqualification, but Madman Fulton beat Eddie Edwards. And so I thought, that's good that we're now saying, okay, Madman Fulton's going to take that next step into the world title picture, but before he can really do a lot of damage and really get his point across that he's gunning for Eddie Edwards, we have the Good Brothers' new music plays, and they come out, and we now have the debut of the Good Brothers on the side of Eddie Edwards. No idea if this is a faction, if this is any kind of arrangement besides just, hey, they saw somebody getting beaten up, and they said, this is our chance, we need to help him, or whatever the case may be. But what were you guys' thoughts on the Good Brothers and their debut in Impact Wrestling? Sid, we'll start with you.
Well, to touch on the match just one last time, that video package, Trey Miguel, that promo he had so much babyface fire. I love that promo that he had in that video package. Just had to say that. But for the Good Brothers, I also have to say their podcast, the Talkin' Shop podcast, is the must-listen-to podcast for professional wrestling fans of 2020. Jon Moxley on Talk is Jericho was that for 2019. Their podcast that came out Saturday morning is the must-listen-to podcast for all wrestling fans because they said so much about their time in WWE, so much of their emotions during that, and the stories of the negotiations with AEW and New Japan are hilarious. They are must-listen-to, and we're definitely going to be talking about that on True Hill Heat 84 this week. But I like them coming to Impact Wrestling. I did not like how this came off. This came off completely underwhelming. I would have preferred for them to come out and challenge the North after the tag team titles. Yeah. I understand them making a big statement by coming out after the main event. You want them to have that kind of main event spotlight, but I don't care what Josh is laughing at. Ace Austin being revealed as the leader of Aces and Eights, that would have been a nice swerve for all the teases that we got of Aces and Eights, because Aces and Eights, you think of Bully, you think of Anderson, you think of all these older guys, but to have the youngest Impact World Champion be the leader of Aces and Eights, and then Gallows and Anderson come out and they revealed themselves as part of Aces and Eights with him, with Fulton, ending the show that way, that's a lot more impactful than what we got. But I do understand that Impact want to position the Good Brothers as baby faces. In a lot of ways, if you're an Impact historian, a TNA historian like I am, it reminded me a lot of Team 3D's debut to TNA, where they came out, they sided on the babyface side, they went against Planet Jarrett, they ran them off, and then they became the babyface, like big babyface tag team stars of TNA at the time, and that's what I think Good Brothers are going to be. But when you look at this pay-per-view, when you look back on it years from now, that 2-second or what it was, 30-second after credit scene will overshadow the debut of the Good Brothers.
I would agree with that for sure. Ness, what do you think about their debut or re-debut with Impact?
It was just random. This came off random. I like that, they're obviously they're going to be faces, because I guess like Eddie Edwards winning they come out and side with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, it would have kind of been expected, so to speak. But it was just like, oh, we just came out here to have a beer with the champ, and that was it. And I'm just like, that literally was it. So I'm like, all right, well, I can do without this shit, because nothing really came about that. Like, anybody can come out and fucking have a beer, but they came out and made the save. But I just want to see where they go from there.
Chris, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would have much rather them come out instead of the Motor City Machine Guns, in that segment and challenge for the world titles, tag team titles. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe they want to build to it. I get it. Sid brought up a interesting prophecy. If that would have happened, that would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have never expected that. That would have been a nice little swerve. I understand them positioning them as faces, though. I think they're much more suited for heels, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens with them in the next few months.
Can I touch on one thing real quick?
Sure.
Fucking Gallows. He must have already been drunk. He's walking down to the ring, almost takes a spill. They're tossing the beers at them. Eddie Edwards catches his beer. Carl Anderson catches his beer. Fucking Gallows again. Oh, drops his fucking beer, couldn't catch the shit. So I'm just like, yo, get this guy out the ring. Like, he's done had one too many, but, all in fun. He was having a good time. He didn't seem to mind, so I guess I shouldn't, but he needed to sober up. I don't know what the fuck was going on with him.
My girlfriend did not watch any of this pay-per-view with me. The one time she just happened to be walking by and she looks at the TV screen, she looks at me and she goes, that motherfucker almost just slipped. Like, I thought I was too high. I thought I was bugging. I was like, yes, this motherfucker did almost slip. Okay, thank you for confirming it.
For me, the debut, I wanted to understand why they came out to help Eddie Edwards. That was the thing. Yeah. Like, there doesn't seem to be any correlation between them and Eddie Edwards, any kind of connection in any way. So I'm just like, why would you help out this random person? Like, it didn't make any sense. If you're planning on showing who, like, establishing that you are baby faces or whatever the case may be, again, coming out to challenge the North would have made perfect sense, because you're having a heel team win, having a heel team run your mouth about being the greatest tag team. Now you have somebody who has held IWGP Gold. It would have kind of written itself. But I think in a way, while they would, even if they wanted them to be faces as opposed to heels, it was okay for them to have them be faces because of that post-credit stinger of having such a big heel for Impact come back in the form of EC3. So guys, what do you think about where they're going to go potentially with EC3? Do we see, because I know Chris is rooting for a title unification match and Moose coming out victorious, but do we see EC3 challenging for the World Championship? Where do you guys think EC3 is going to fit in to this changing landscape that is Impact Wrestling? Ness, what do you think?
Far as heel, he is like, or more than likely, it's going to be like the top heel. He pretty much already has that heat. Far as like where they're going to go with it, I don't know. I guess we have to see what happens with Eddie Edwards and Moose. If that's obviously, that's probably going to be a direction they're going to go with. I would want Moose to win this unification thing if that does happen. But I don't know. Like I said, I already told you guys how I feel about EC3, so it's like pretty much whatever. But even if they don't have him jump right into a title picture, whoever that he's facing or whoever he's like paired with for a storyline, they're going to automatically get some type of baby face backing because he's just a total jackass, a total asshole to begin with. So they're definitely going to have something for him to do. I can't really predict what it's going to be, but I'll keep an eye out for it. I don't really like the guy, but we'll see where it goes.
And I guess we'll also do closing thoughts about the pay-per-view as a whole. So also, I guess we'll say all of our closing thoughts on the pay-per-view itself, including that EC3 return. So, Ness, your closing thoughts on the pay-per-view as well.
Overall, it was a good show. It had its downs, a couple downs that we spoke on, but overall, there was more pros than cons, in my opinion. The opening tag match, the women's match, the story, and even if some of the matches didn't hit as hard as we were expecting it to, but the storylines building up to those matches were done very well. So overall, it was a good show.
Mm-hmm. Sid, how about you?
I enjoyed this show. I gave it 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. Very solid show. It delivered on the surprises that they guaranteed. We got a new Impact World Champion. We got a new Knockouts Champion. We got a new X Division Champion. So it set up a very fun and a very intriguing next chapter for Impact Wrestling. And I think that we were a little bit assumptive, because I think that if I put my Booker's hat on, I think Chris is right. I think the route that they should go is the unification match between Moose and Eddie Edwards to determine the real world champion. But I think Moose should win that, and I think the anti-hero EC3 should then challenge the unified real world champion Moose. I think that's the better route for them to go.
If I remember right, wasn't EC3 versus Moose the determination for the first Grand Champion?
Possibly.
Possibly. Yeah.
I think they went back and forth to figure out the first Impact Grand Champion. So that'll be interesting. And they had generally a good rivalry when EC3 was formerly there. Chris, your closing thoughts about the pay-per-view and where you think they might go with EC3?
Yeah, I would say it's about a 7 out of 10 too. It was a solid pay-per-view, good action all around. The surprises were promises. Even though we kind of knew what surprises were coming, they still made an impact. No pun intended. You know what I mean? So and with EC3, I personally think he has more babyface momentum behind him. So it would make sense for him to be the first challenger to Moose. If they decide to take that route where Moose and Eddie Edwards would unify the championships. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we have in store for Impact.
So yeah, in closing, I really like the pay-per-view as well. I give it around a 7 as well. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is you don't realize it always, but they're priming you for a babyface win, or they're priming you for a heel win. So if you look back in all the title or fake title matches that we had, the heel won. Yeah. And Kylie Ray her winning is almost one of the only shining babyface moments throughout the night, besides that opening match. And even then, Motor City was had to work as the heels because of how beloved the Rascals are. So they kind of primed us for, wow, we need to have a good moment, and that moment being Eddie Edwards winning. So, I mean, kudos to them for understanding, as much as I wanted Ace Austin to win, for where they needed to go, it had to be one of the faces. And seeing that they're going to go with Rich Swann and Eric EY having a feud, it only makes sense to put it on Eddie Edwards. So I do like the overall pay-per-view, and I thought they just did a really good job to say this is where we are, this is where we're going, and make sure you guys are with us at Bound for Glory. I thought this itself was probably the best sell job for Bound for Glory that they're going to have between now and October 24th. So.
Yeah, I think that's what they should do, though. I think Moose versus Eddie Edwards for the TNA and Impact World title needs to be the main event of Bound for Glory. Because if you remember last year at Slammiversary, everyone and their mama thought Moose was going to defeat Austin 2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago.
Two years ago. Where everyone thought Moose was going to defeat Austin Aries at Slammiversary, and he came up short. And we've been building for 2 years ever since that moment to Moose finally getting the World Championship. And I think Bound for Glory is the perfect place for it.
Awesome, guys. So let's do our thumbs up, thumbs down thing.
All right. Well, we were first. We have to match
that's
of the
right.
night.
Sorry, yeah.
Match of the night. I am gonna go with Diana versus Jordan. Ness,
Same.
how about you?
All the way agreeing with you, Diana versus Jordan.
That's where I'm going as well. Chris?
I'm actually going to Fatal 5-Way because the surprises, the all-around action just captivated me.
Can't go wrong either way. And your MVP of the night, fellas. We'll start with you, Chris.
I'm going to have to go with Diana. You know,
Yeah.
Coming in, making an impact like that. Didn't see it coming, and she's champ.
It's I also go with Diana because I think it's incredible that they didn't really use her that much on NXT, and her first time here in a championship match, nonetheless, she just knocks it out the park. Just her ability to, her in-ring style, her in-ring character work, all of that's really great. I know that on last review of Impact, I talked about how she needs the way her vocal inflections didn't really work for me, and that I felt as though she needed to be more convincing in that she believes who she is. And I think this match shows that the character of Diana Perato 100% believes that she is who she is, regardless of how she may sound when she's talking to somebody such as Jordan Grace, who's bringing so much fire, and Diana's trying to, keep that level-headed heel arrogance throughout. It doesn't matter if it's going to hit or miss, because in the matches itself, in ring, she's knocking it out the park. So she's definitely my MVP for tonight. Ness?
I got co-MVPs, obviously Diana, but I want to give it to Jordan Grace too, because they both, obviously,
it takes two to dance. Yeah,
exactly. They had the match of the night, in our opinion. So yeah, definitely both of them.
I'm going to go a different route with my MVP, and I'm going to go with Eddie Edwards. This man is the most underappreciated person on the Impact roster for how long he's really been with the company, because I am an Eddie Edwards fan from his time in Ring of Honor. I kind of saw him when he first came into Ring of Honor, when he had dreads, and a lot of people compared him to an American British Bulldog. How his look even progressed as like the British Bulldog, and the American Wolves had that feel of the British Bulldogs tag team. So like there was so many of those comparisons to him, and he was the lesser of the two Wolves from his time in Ring of Honor to coming over to Impact Wrestling. But slowly but surely, he has become the longevity of the American Wolves, and he has created his own legacy in Impact Wrestling. And his first title run was very short-lived. It was merely just to break up the title reigns of Bobby Lashley. But this one, I feel, is much well-deserved, because he's been through so much. The bat to the eye with Sami Callihan, the whole drama with those two, his feud with Moose, his feud with Ace Austin, him changing his character, him falling in love with the kendo stick. Like, he's been through so much in the past 4 years since his last TNA World Heavyweight Championship run. So it's well-deserved that he got it here. And next, we got LVP of the night, and I will start off the LVP round.
I think this is the one time we're going to be 100% unified, but
we just might be, because my LVP is Mr. Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock, you a good tag team match. You made it not as good, and you made all of us laugh as soon as we brought up that title match, so it's well deserved. Chris?
Chris.
Come on, do you even have to fucking ask me, man? Fucking Ken Shamrock, man. Come on.
Stat King?
Ken Shamrock, 100%.
Ness?
I'm not even going to fucking say it. I got all my emotions out with, my review of that match. Yeah, it's fucking Ken Shamrock, man. It was bad.
And then finally, our thumbs up, thumbs down for Impact Slammiversary 2020 in 3, 2, 1. 4 thumbs up for Impact Wrestling. So you guys watching this review, we want to thank you. If you made it this far through our review, going through the entire Slammiversary card. If you didn't see the event, if we broke it down for you, let us know how we did. If you did see the event, let us know your thoughts on the entire Slammiversary card, and let us know your match of the night, MVP, LVP, and if you gave it a thumbs up or thumbs down. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm and help other wrestling fans like yourself discover these pay-per-view roundtables where we go in depth on all the major promotions, biggest shows of the year. Any final plugs from you gentlemen? We will start off with you, Stat King.
Guys, we had a lot of crazy stuff happening tonight, and we're going to see the fallout on Tuesdays. And I'll be with you guys every step of the way on Dark Power. That's my plug.
Ness?
Yeah, I'm just ready to see this tag match between the North and Motor City Machine Guns on Tuesday. And I'll keep an eye out for what's going to happen with Rhino and Heath. You know, see more comedy. I can always use the comedy. But other than that, man, just make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, man. Just share, subscribe, all that.
Chris?
You can catch me every Thursday on the YouTube channel, one half of the Wednesday Night Warriors with my good brother Romeo. We do 4 hours of wrestling in 2. That's the Warrior Life. And Joints and Jabronis, I will be dropping an episode in 2 weeks. So we'll look out for that. Catch me at Spick_Flair_woo! 3 O's.
Woo! And of course, you could find me here every Monday or Tuesday on True Rewind with Drunk Guy JJ and the connoisseur of all reporting, Mr. Romeo Anthony Colon, as well as every Friday or Saturday right here on the YouTube channel with the True Hill Heat podcast, where we break down all your latest news. And yes, True Hill Heat 84, we will go in depth about the Talkin' Shop podcast with the good brothers, Big Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So, for the man back from sabbatical, the Potheel, the True Heel Ness, for our Wednesday Night Warrior and his lovely assistant, Mary J. All gone now.
Smoked her already. Sorry, guys.
The one and only Chris G, and the host of Dark Power, the man making an impact every week right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, Mr. Stat King. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. Drop us a like, share this video, subscribe, push the bell to stay notified, and we'll see you next time on our next pay-per-view roundtable for more True Hill Heat. Peace.
Take it easy, guys.